Hey, Arman here, and in this video we're going to talk about how long should your workouts last. I mean, it's amazing what I see out there and what people think. Again, to get ideas from social media and other places, internet, etc. And there's a lot to know about being efficient with what you're trying to accomplish. And that's the most important thing. How can I be efficient, get the best return for my time, so I don't waste time, waste energy, etc. Because I see a lot of that, and it's not necessary. Now, I've already done all that. I've wasted a ton of time, and I've made a ton of mistakes, so I can say these things because I've been through it. And, I got 40 years of experience of in the trenches doing stuff wrong, and not proud of that, but at the same time, that's how it rolled. Okay, so one thing is going to depend on how long is depending on your goals. So if you're just getting started, you're not going to need to train real long because you're going to break down muscle pretty quickly. You're going to have a lot of stress on the body. So it needs to be a shorter training window. It doesn't need to be real long. So that's going to be 20, 30 minutes. And in fact, a lot of times people go in, they think they got to go, 30, 40, 45 minutes or an hour and end up throwing up because you got blood pushing up and down in the abdominal area, because you're moving blood around. Well, it can cause you to get nauseous. And if you don't stop in time, I see this happen a lot with especially first time people or even second time. They get a little lightheaded and dizzy and they're like, what's going on? And what you need to do, if this happens to you, what you need to do is lay down. So when you lay down, then the blood flow redistributes and you won't throw up. If you don't lay down and you sit up and try to sweat it out and wait it out, you're going to throw up. I've seen it happen over and over and over. So if you're new, you need to pay attention to the rules. And even though you feel like, hey, I didn't get much out of that, you got something out of it and you'll feel it the next day. Now, if you didn't get as much as you thought, that's okay. We can always do more. That's not a problem. But it's being efficient, okay? And if you push it, you're gonna get extremely sore. You can potentially throw up. And how fun is that to start out? That's not realistic, okay? So we wanna make sure you get started the right way, you get things turning the right way. Okay, so the length is gonna depend on the goals. And then as you get more developed, that will change because that's what you have to do. As the body progresses and adapts to the stresses we're putting it under, then you continue to make other adjustments. But don't think you got to go, 30 minutes or an hour in your first workout or first couple workouts, because we're not going to even recommend that to you. I mean, you're going to basically do, if you're just new, you're going to do one set to failure and maybe, 8 to 9 exercises, maybe 11. That's it. Okay, but that'll take you a while to get done because you got to figure out how to do it. So that first workout could last longer, but that's just because you're trying to figure out this machine, that machine, or whatever exercise we're recommending. So kind of keep that in mind. All right, so then what the quality range as far as how long you should exercise, and again, depends on the person's conditioning and what their goals are. 30 to 60 minutes is it. So generally 30 minutes of conditioning, and you can go less than that, but we're talking about resistance training. 30 minutes is very effective. I don't like going 60 minutes. I don't do 60 minutes. Okay, every now and then it could happen just because of delays or whatever, but I don't like doing 60 minutes. I think that's just, it puts you over the rate of return where you're not getting anything else back from doing the extra 15 minutes. Because you got to understand, you're breaking down muscle. So when you're breaking down muscle, the body is trying to deal with the stress, and you're going to get to a point where you don't have much more energy to give. And especially if you're training hard, you're training with intensity. So why keep going? Mentally, you're not going to be able to lift as much. You're fatigued mentally. You're feeling it. Go ahead and stop there, because then we get the recovery, come back, and you'll be stronger. Don't think you got to gut through something for a longer period of time because that's going to get you that much more results. That's not how it works. You just need to break down the muscle, be efficient with it, and then let it recover. So however long it takes to break down that muscle, and you'll learn this over time as you train, and then you become more dialed in and engaged with it, then you get real efficient. So that's much easier for you to sustain and keep the program where you want it and continue to improve the program. Okay, so no more than 60 minutes, absolutely, okay? Now, if you're doing some kind of athletic event, well, that's a different scenario. That's not 60 minutes or longer of weight training, because you only have so much glucose. So if it's a conditioning thing, well, you can go a little bit longer for that. I'm not a big fan of that because I feel it wears too much on the joints and stuff, depending on what, if it's running or You know, something where like tennis and other basketball and other sports where it can start to wear on the joints depending on your age and how your conditioning is. That's a different element here. Okay, well, we're talking focused on strength training and then cardio for this conversation. All right, so what I found after, again, 40 years of trying this and trying it, I've done 3-hour workouts, I've done 2-hour workouts, 1-hour workouts, etc. My sweet spot, and what's just worked well for my clients, is just 45 minutes. Now, that's a tough 45 minutes, and so you're not going to be at that in the beginning, but that's what you'd work up to. Having high intensity for 45 minutes, done. That's what I find is a sweet spot. It allows me to recover, and it's also more sustainable in your schedule. When you start doing it an hour or more, you got drive time, you got to take a shower, you got to drive back, you got to eat. That's where it starts becoming a problem. So you got to be real efficient with your time, but get as much effectiveness and get as much done in that time to get what you want. All right, so if it comes to doing cardio, like again, I'm talking about 45 minutes of resistance training. So you may just do 30 minutes of resistance training and then maybe 15 minutes of cardio if you like doing cardio. Now, I don't always do cardio. I'm not a big cardio person. I know it can help your mitochondria and help with energy and AMPK and some other things, but I'm just not a big fan of it. And also, I'm kind of crunched for time. So I do know if I train hard and fast with weight training, very little rest in between, I'm getting cardio conditioning. Whether people want to agree with that or not, you know, just try it and see if you feel a difference, okay? But short rest periods and you go fast with heavy weight, you're getting cardio conditioning whether people want to acknowledge that or not. Is it continuous? Kind of. It depends on your pace. So anyways, being said on that. But for cardio purposes, you know, if you do 15 minutes of HIIT, high intensity interval training, that's pretty demanding, okay? And that's going to tax you and it's going to burn up a lot of glucose. That's what it's going to burn. That's another thing. Just because you're doing cardio doesn't mean you're burning fat. That's another debatable argumental thing because what you're really burning is glucose. That's what your body needs. So it finds the stored glucose and start using that. It's not burning fat right out of the box because you're doing cardio. If you believe that, then you're wrong, okay? And there's not enough science that I've seen that would prove that. Because if your insulin levels are elevated, you're not going to burn any fat anyways until that drops. And it may drop while you're doing the cardio. But the best way to burn fat is managing insulin, keeping it down, and then let fat be your all-day energy system. That's the best way to do it. And people may disagree or whatever, but this stuff works. So it is what it is. And I've researched a lot of stuff, and I've looked at the debates. You know, they say, well, if you're breathing, you're burning fat. You have two energy systems. You're either burning glucose or you're burning fat. It's the way it works. And if you're doing something repetitive and continuous movement, most of the time, and 90% of the time or higher, you're burning glucose. Now, the only fat that you could be burning would be triglycerides. So that'd be the only fat from what I've seen in the research. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I'm sure people are going to say, well, I disagree. Well, that's fine. But again, we're talking about being efficient with time. Okay, so that's a whole nother discussion. So cardio, 15 to 30 minutes. If you want to do high intensity interval, you're going to burn a lot of glucose. Now, if you do zone 2 cardio, if your insulin's down, you might start burning a little bit of fat, but you're not going to burn any fat until you used up the current glucose levels that are available. So understand that, okay? Now you will burn fat later because you drop the insulin. There's no glucose being needed. So then, you know, because you don't have insulin up, you're going to burn fat. You'll burn fat later. But don't think you're burning fat right then and there doing that cardio exercise. They haven't proven that to me, and I haven't seen enough science behind it to prove otherwise. All right, that's my rant on that anyways. So the other thing is the quality of workout is what's most important, not the time. It's the quality of workout. Now, with that being said, most quality workouts won't need more than 45 minutes. I've already done a lot of this stuff, and every time I go longer, I'm more fatigued, I don't recover well, I don't sleep as well. So what am I doing? I'm spending an additional 15 minutes to not feel better. That doesn't make sense. So you got to have the quality is how much time it takes to break down the muscle and you get maximum recovery. Because if you don't recover, you're not going to get anywhere. Recovery is critical to having success. So that's why you have to keep this in mind. And if you're not getting enough sleep, that's a whole other factor too. So you want to keep it so it's efficient. So Quality workout is the most important thing. If you really hit it hard, and just say you're done in 30 minutes, you can always add more time in the next workout. It's going to be there. So you got plenty of repetition coming up. So keep that in mind. All right, and the other thing is, it's based on your schedule for sustainability. If you're making a lot of money, you got a lot of pressure on you. You got a lot of commitments. You got to get this stuff done. We got to keep this dialed in to fit your schedule so it works for you, not against you. So letting workouts linger aren't helping you. Keep it efficient. And when you feel really good, go a little harder. Push yourself more. If you're feeling a little fatigued and tired, take it easy on that day. You know, your body hasn't recovered well. Just get through it, but keep it a shorter workout so it'll help the recovery, and keep that in mind. But to keep things sustainable, that's what we got to look at. How much time can you plug into your day that you can commit to consistently and regularly? We're talking 3 to 4 days a week, and if you want to do more, we can. Just so you know, I only train 5 days a week, and I'm a serious competitive bodybuilder. So if you think you need more than that, well, I would disagree, because you need rest and recovery time. Otherwise, you're not going to get what you want as the results. Now, if you're doing some kind of athletic event, well, that could be that's a different conversation. But I'm talking strictly with weight training and then some cardio conditioning. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you got some good takeaways on it. And obviously, you can comment on it as well in the group, and talk to you again real soon.